Hi, this is Alex Gonzalez from In Your Phase. This is going to be an Age of Sigmar based episode where we are going to be reviewing a Sweden GT that just happened this past weekend. We are also going to be talking about some of the top lists and how there's a growing trend of Kroak showing up in a lot of the Seraphon lists, or almost an auto include. We also talk about how Jeremy doesn't like frogs that much.
It's all dragon.
I like the dragon motifs. That's fun.
Oh, because the road is called Dragon Gotten. Must be Dragon's Gate, maybe.
Probably. That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, and Dragon Park. Yeah.
It is pretty interesting because I also realized that the location, it just so happens to be the initial name is not necessarily the city. So I think the second name is the city, whereas the first name is the county of the location of that region. And for all of our listeners out there who are really confused by this, they'll just have to stick around and find out what's going on here. This is, of course, In Your Phase. We are going to be talking primarily about Age of Sigmar today. And to get started, I'll tell you guys a little bit about my phase. I have a Seraphon project that I've been talking about the last few days. I have this gorgeous Carnosaur that I made that was albino I've talked about in the last week. Everything kind of did a hard stop when I learned a lot more about the Necron codex. And I've basically had like a weird Marie Kondo moment where I need to do, rather than spring cleaning, some like fall cleaning instead. So now my entire office is like disgustingly messy, and almost everything is out of my closet so that I can get more organization. I'm getting like wire shelves like Jeremy has in his den, in his dungeon. And I'm basically reorganizing everything, selling a bunch of the like Chaos Space Marine and Imperial Guard shit that I just know I'm never going to get to in the remainder of a 30K army. And so I'm going to get rid of all of it and like a Tzeentch start collecting set, I guess, or maybe I'll keep that for live stream stuff. Who knows? And then, yeah, we are going to, we've collected all of my Necron stuff together, and it's a lot easier to paint. With the new Synthcron style that I'm going to be doing is about 3 times easier for me to paint and paint well and paint like effectively than it is going to be for my Seraphon. Like the Seraphon project is very much a passion project for me. They both are, but that one, like I want to get down like really right. And with Seraphon, you have less wiggle room to fuck up, I feel. Especially with like the color scheme of Seraphon that I want. Like I can fuck up with the Necrons and still pull it off, make things like fix things pretty well without having to start over again. So I have a bunch of Immortals to the right of me, as well as a whole mix of Praetorian and Praetorian Lichguard sprue, and I even have the old. I have a lot of these bodies. I have a lot of the old pariahs. Yeah, and in my old Lichguard army from 6th and 7th, out of my 9 Lichguard I would always bring, 5 of them or 4 of them were old Lichguard or old pariah models anyways. So I think I might convert some of the old pariah models I have to be sword and board. If not, all my regular new Lichguard that I'm going to be building from here on out are going to be staffs, one-hand staffs with hyperphase blades on the top instead of war scythes. And then they're going to be holding their dispersion shields. So they're going to be having like a glaive and a shield. So a little bit more guardy, like, in that way.
Corian.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm going for. So then the convenience factor is, hey, if I want to do sword and board, well, they're hyperphase shields. And hey, if I want a war scythe, hey, this is a pole arm. So I've been meaning to do that for a while, but I actually made a test model a while back. And so at first I was like, it's kind of cheap. It's kind of lame. But then I actually built one like that, and I was like, oh, this actually looks really, really cool. So like, because even the Lichguard that are standing still, that you give them like the shield and they're just like holding the staff, like that makes sense that you can't target a character within 3 inches, or an infantry character if they're within 3 inches. Goddamn, you're not going to target them. These guys are there, they're here to show up. So I have a Necron list that I'll probably be bringing this Sunday for our 40K players. They'll be able to take a peek and see me probably get smacked by some Imperial Fists. Maybe not. I'm excited about it. Saturday is going to be me building Doomstalkers, and I hope maybe getting a game in. We'll see. And an Illuminar. Got to get him. But that's what's in my phase. My phase is an incredibly messy office while I get rid of a bunch of shit, and clean a bunch of shit. John, what's in your phase?
Hey, Alex, how you doing this week, man? So, it's interesting you mentioned those shelves. Of course, everybody always sees the shelf I have here in my hobby room, and what I never point the camera at is this entire wall over here actually has 3 more floor to ceiling shelves like this, full of my hobby stuff. Plus, I have 2 hutches out in the garage and a shelving unit also full of my hobby stuff. So beware the shelves. Once you get one, then you're gonna get another, and then another, and then another. I actually do have
Between us.
those wire shelves that you're talking about. I bought a bunch of them off Amazon, and I use them out in my garden. All of my peppers are actually up about 3 feet off the ground, and I use half of one of those shelves to put the buckets on top of them, and that's actually how I basically get a little more sunlight in the garden by raising them up because of my fences, and it also keeps any gophers and ground-based pests away from my my peppers. And speaking of peppers, basically this weekend, from when you guys are listening to this particular episode, in fact, later tonight from the release of this episode, I will be interviewing Mr. Reese Robbins of Frontline Gaming. And earlier in the week, I actually sent him 14 different types of peppers from my garden. Everything from the delicious Trinidad perfume peppers through the Fatali peppers, which I know Garrett and Alex, you guys both got a chance to try some of those, as well as the Snow Whites. But then I went beyond that. I went ahead and sent him the Naga Vipers and something a little nastier than that. We'll see if Mr. Reese Robbins wants to climb all the way up the tree. I gave him 14 peppers, and I said, Reese, everything from 0 Scoville to 3 million Scoville is in this bag. You pick 6 types of peppers that you want to try, and we'll go through them tonight. So everybody later in the weekend, tune in for that interview with Reese. What was that, Garrett?
Here's the question. Did you label what the Scoville is of each pepper?
I did.
That's cheating.
I know. I could have went surprise mode, but no, I labeled him. Plus, he has Mariana and everyone there. I don't want, though I might like to burn up Reese. You want everyone else to have a good time with the peppers. And there's plenty of sweet peppers and all of that kind of stuff. So anyways, look for that later this weekend. Also later in the month, I've lined up some other interviews, and I'll keep some of those under wraps. One of the ones that you should see coming up is I'm going to be partnering with another podcast, the High Lords of Terra, and we're going to do a little back and forth Fireheads heat challenge. We'll see if they can hang with that. And other than that, guys, of course, you saw I finished up my lighted Primaris bikes, right? Here's one of them. In fact, I have 3 of them. And so since I finished them up on Hobby Wednesday, I've now started painting them, about halfway through the painting of my lighted Primaris bikes. And of course, everybody, you hopefully will have tuned in this last Wednesday when I started a Necron project. And so I'm actually going to start by lighting a Necron Overlord. And I got,
which one?
Cool.
The Indomitus one?
Yeah, the Indomitus one, just to start. But then behind that, I have a Silent King coming on ordered. Him, and then I have some of the Skorpek destroyers, and I'm going to do something cool with the lighting on those guys.
How are you going to light the Overlord?
Yeah, right?
Tune in on Wednesday.
Super spindly, super spindly, super thin. Yeah. Oh, I spent hours figuring out how I'm going to do it.
I mean, like, I magnetized mine.
Yeah, and
you would have more than just the arrow.
I got these little crystal balls, and like there's some glowing
back
ones.
Here.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put those inside of like the weapon there, where he's got the little spheres and stuff. Oh, it's gonna be cool. So
yeah, the little.
So, anyways, so this is my initial project. It'll probably take a few weeks to get through. Like I said, you guys for the last episode the other day, and then I'm getting the Silent King in, and we're gonna light the heck out of him. So every Wednesday, tune in at 8 p.m. and we'll be continuing to put lights into models and having a whole lot of fun with it. There's going to be a bunch of Necrons coming up. I tell you what, Alex, it's funny. Speaking of Necrons, you mentioned the Lich Guard, and I'm pretty excited. I was watching a little bit of your review. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch all of it. I got to tune back in. Luckily, it's on YouTube. For
I had
those of
some
you that
audio
didn't-
issues.
Yeah. So those of you that didn't catch it on Monday night this week, it is over on YouTube. Alex and Jeremy go through the new Necron codex, a little review of units and all that good stuff. And boy, I'm pretty excited about the Lich Guard. As you know, I of course am a massive Necron collector. Been collecting for weeks, and I have a lot of Lich Guard. I have, I think, 50 Lich Guard. I got like 25 of the dudes with the shields, and I've got a whole bunch of the dudes with the swords too. No,
Wait, are they on
phalanx?
Are they on sprue?
No, they're built and painted.
Then how many Praetorians do you have? Because it's a dual kit.
Oh, well, maybe I don't know the difference. Okay, so maybe I have a bunch of Praetorians and a bunch of Lich Guard.
So Lich Guard have either big scythes or they have sword and shield. Praetorians have like weird like wrist rockets and like little weird blades, or they have like staffs that they're like pointing.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So no, I have both.
And they have Praetorians have little like circles on their forehead.
The head's a little different.
They also have like big backs because they have like jump pack.
That's the guy with the different backpack. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And Lich Guard have like a headdress, and Praetorians don't have a headdress, but they have that little orb.
Maybe the guy kind of mixed the kits as he built them, but you're right. I have half and half of those though. But still, so it sounds like I have plenty. So I'm excited. Yeah. It's gonna be pretty a lot of fun. I can't wait. So that is basically what's been in my phase all week long: hot peppers, gardening, and planning out some kind of crazy lighting project with the Necrons. How about you, Mr. Garrett Mulroney? What has been in your phase this week, my friend?
Not nearly as exciting as yours. It's been a pretty calm week for me. I actually have been doing some gardening myself. Well, I'm helping my wife do gardening. So she has decided that she's going to buy a bunch of plants, and we're going to have a flower garden outside her front. So I forget what kind of plants she got for our walkway, but she got some peonies for our front garden, because it turns out peonies are from Virginia. They grow naturally in Virginia, so the weather here is perfect for growing them. So they're going to be our year-long flowers that we're going to have in our front flower garden. So I helped to dig some holes for her to start planting some peonies and plant a couple other things, and we'll just see how that turns out. I'm starting my venture into flower gardening with my wife.
Oh, so awesome. Does it snow where you live?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It does snow. Yes, my wife is doing all the research about how certain flowers require a winter freeze. And then like they actually need a freeze to like hibernate them or something. I don't know, but but peonies, like the DC area is like the perfect climate between snow and spring and all the humidity and everything that makes them grow well.
Wait, you guys get like frozen?
Yes, I have to turn off
part
my
of the
water.
planet should not exist. How does this, like, it's awful and it's a goddamn swamp like 90% of the year, and then what, you guys just get like a flash freeze?
We're not a swamp 90% of the year. We actually have 12 seasons.
It is to me.
You came here once, and we have 12 seasons. Well, we just finished Fake Fall, and we are now we are I think almost at the end of our second summer, and we're about to enter Real Fall. And then winter shortly after that. And then we get our like 1 week of spring.
You gotta move back to the West Coast where you don't have seasons.
Yeah, you don't have seasons. We have 12, you have 2. Actually, California entered a 3rd season where it's called Smoke and Fire. Seasons. Yeah, well, they have summer, slightly colder summer, and then they have smoke and fire season. California's
that's actually fair. I was gonna say, you have a cold or a hot day any day of the year.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we get full seasons out here. It's part of the reasons I actually really like it out here. But so other than that, I organized a tabletop simulator tournament where we had turnout, about 12 players. And I'll just turn it over to Jeremy. Just take it away, Jeremy. You have a lot to say about this. Just go for it.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but I did prepare
I'm going to walk away and get more
speech.
A long speech about this. In fact, I even prepared a background for this. What really grinds my fucking gears. People
That's
picking
the
3
best.
places of arcane power. Who the fuck picks that mission in a book? It's already cancerous enough because it was badly designed from the get-go, which for the context for people who don't know what that mission is, which you're blessed, is the fact that this mission, you only score points if you have a hero within 3 inches of an objective. Well, guess what? A lot of armies do not have durable heroes as an option. So on that mission, it's more about, can I survive the first 3 turns of my hero and then eventually get on the objective? And what makes it matter the most is that that mission has 3 of those, and those are scored progressively the longer the hero sits on the objective. So armies that just do not have durable heroes or frontline heroes get fucking relegated to the minor leagues with that mission. But then the meta changed this year and introduced Caradon Overlords and Seraphons and Zinch to an extent to the meta, which we went from a melee brawl meta to a shooty death meta. And look at me in the eyes, Garrett. I see you fucking looking your phone. Look at me in the eyes as I'm telling you this. No one should pick that mission in a meta where fucking heroes just evaporate because you have armies that are literally designed to just negate any kind of counterplay you can bring.
Now, first off, he wasn't looking at his phone, Jeremy. He was averting his eyes in shame.
That's right. That's right. I prefer that explanation, so I'm okay with that. But the point of the matter, again, it was a lovely weekend. I just hate you for picking that mission because it's literally the worst mission in the entire 18 packs that we have. I'm surprised it wasn't deleted out of them. They deleted 2 bad missions, but didn't delete that one, which was awful. And that's probably because it's a rulebook mission.
There's also 3 places of power, which will never go away.
Yeah.
Wait. Is that episode 71 or 72 of Wide World of Wargaming where we talk specifically about those missions? And I remember somebody on this team who declared how much they like that mission.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened to that guy because he doesn't exist anymore. Because he doesn't live in a meta where basically a single unit in the game could just remove like 5 to 10 wounds of a hero without any penalty and have required no effort.
It's awfully
whatsoever.
convenient that when he had Fire Slayers, he liked that mission.
He loved that mission. The best mission.
But now
ever.
that he's not playing Fire Slayers, he happens to not like that mission and think that it's bad for the game. Just an observation. Just
I honestly think it's less the mission. I have some gripes about that mission, but honestly, it's the current meta and the rule design. I think they need to bring in some, wonderful 40k lookout serve rules possibly.
Oh fuck! I hope that's how they balance this rising thing. Is there's 3.0? They just add the 40k lookout serve mechanics, and make it so because right now at least in the melee brawl mission scenario, right? If you bubble wrapped and you got there to your hero on the first objective first, and you bubble wrapped, a melee brawl army would have to basically you would have a couple turns before they would effectively kill your hero or get in melee with your hero if everything was up to par in strategy. But obviously Fire Slayers were better than most because they didn't die. And then more in Praetor OBR were the same situation, right? But in the meta, with Seraphons and Kale, they're I don't have to literally shoot any of your models or units. I just have to shoot the heroes. I watched Garrett's final game for first place in that event. It was Seraphons versus Caradon Overlord. No
way. Was it really?
Yeah, and it was Fangs of Sotek, which is the incredibly mortal woundy shooting one with running away mechanics and extra shots and everything versus Caradon Overlord, which was his list was literally designed to just be I don't even care about having any semblance of trying to hold an objective. I'm just gonna shoot you off the table with nothing but boats and thunderers. There's literally his entire army is less than 12 models, I think. Or no, sorry, it's less than 22 models because he has 2 units of 5 thunderers and that's it. And everything else is just boats. And first turn, the top of the turn, the Kill player takes it. Seraphon player has 6 heroes. He kills 5 of the 6 on the top of the turn. And then the Seraphon player retaliates, kills 2 of the 3 heroes the KO player has. And somehow, the last hero left on the Seraphons is Lord Kroak, which is challenging to kill. He manages to like basically get an objective, which he can't score because he teleported, and then the KO player, I don't know, decided not to try to kill Kroak and just try to play defensively, and that didn't work out, and then he ended up losing the game. But like, how much of like the game was literally on the record, like if that Seraphon player managed to kill the last hero of KO, which he had the ability to, but chose not to, the game was literally over right there and then, right? Like it was just like, it was basically, what a cool mechanic, guys. It ended on turn 1, which is literally how my game ended as well. Like my opponent killed all my heroes on turn 1. And I was just like, cool. That was enjoyable.
I mean, if they kill all the heroes, then it's a 0 score for the mission. It's a tie, and then it's what, kill points for the minor?
No, secondary, hidden
auxiliaries
or auxiliary objectives.
But this is a rulebook mission, so no, there's no auxiliaries in that. That's just kill
you're
points.
right. Yeah.
Places
of Arcane Power is General's Handbook.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, three places of power is the.
There are 3 places. Thank you.
Because they've had to change it. They've had to change places of Arcane Power 3 times. First time it was just wizards and hero, and it was wizard keyword, and then it was wizards and heroes, and now it's leaders.
So finally, I've really, at least my opponent got some early sleep because he's in like he's some weird, like I think he's European or European time. Like the game literally, Dennis, it ended on like bottom of turn 1, killed all my heroes, and then you got initiative and basically wiped the rest of. You got a double turn. You made me go first, double turn me, and then finish the rest of my army off. And I was just like, great, that was a lot of fun. And that's just the way it is right now in the meta. Like I refuse to play like the shooty meta. I keep trying to bring armies which are not shooty, and then I just keep getting my ass handed to me in this meta. So maybe I'll just learn my lesson and just play shooting. I'll just start playing. I'll just start bringing Caradon Overlords. Like
I know you're salty about that last game, but I feel like that last game is more indicative of the current problem we're in with Age of Sigmar with Tzeentch, KO, Seraphon, Cities of Sigmar. In the last like 8 to 10 months, I guess 12 months, we've had 4 heavy shooting-based armies. And honestly, I only have to go back 12 months is because of cities. You drop cities, and the last 6 to 8 months, we've had massive shooting-based armies drop. And it's like, what are you doing, GW? You buff the crap out of shooting armies.
Rebuttal. Yes, you're right. It's a meta. But I blame the TO for picking that mission, knowing the meta.
Well, the way you described your game, you got tabled on turn 2 anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
It would have mattered because I would have been at least scoring points.
You would have lost either way. You wouldn't have changed anything.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? I was glad I brought Jaws of Mork and played 2 Seraphon players, 2 shooty Seraphon players, and I always felt like I was in the game in the beginning, and then I was quickly realized, oh yeah, that's right. They're Seraphon, and they just don't have to engage at all the entire game.
No, Kroak Seraphon don't have to engage the whole game.
Well, Fangs of Sotex don't have to engage in the whole game. Talking about Kroak, I want us to move on to away from in my face because I don't really want to talk about. I have no projects because I want to finish painting my Jaws of Mork army, even though I feel like, God damn it, Games Workshop fucking fixed the meta. So let's talk about an event that happened this weekend.
It's funny, just to comment on that real quick, is there is actually, GW has a whole other game that is completely shooting based. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we could argue that they've just increased the deadliness of melee in that game by adding a lot of terrain. But honestly, I see 40K is a shooting based sort of sci-fi future game, and I've myself have always perceived Age of Sigmar as this more melee-based game. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of shooting, as there was a little bit of shooting in ancient times, but for the most part, ancient wars or fantasy wars, we envision, groups of giants or monsters or creatures or men or whatever, clashing and shields smashing and swords and spears and all of that. And that, to me, that is what Age of Sigmar is about. And now it's like you said, it's all this shooting, which there's another game out there that lets me get my shooting off. So
now I gotta say I agree with you. I think that Places Arcane Power may not have been the best mission, So it's a learning experience. Let's call it that. I'm not going to scream at Garrett and tell him to look me in the eyes. Say you made a mistake. I know that
at least
John
buy
did
me
ex-
dinner before you rape me.
John did,
I'm
John did
the
explicitly,
spoon daddy. Know it. Call it.
John did explicitly let me know that this is not going to be a second in my phase, but I do need to let you know as we transfer out of this initial intro here, you guys. I also went to the tournament. It was really fun. I think I played Garrett initially as like a ringer round one, and then I played Corn at the very beginning, Corn at the very end, and then I had to play against a Kroak list in the middle, and Kroak list wasn't fun. I play Seraphon, but like I was going to play Salamanders, but thankfully he had Salamanders, and fighting against them, I was like, Jeremy was like, just bring Salamanders, just get it out of your system. And I fought against them, and that alone got that out of my system. I was like, oh, they just like, I looked at them the wrong way and they fell to battle shock. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to run them. But it was really, I mean, overall, I really appreciate Garrett's, COVID events, just because you get such a wide range of players. So if you guys have the ability, like TTS is not hard, or Age of Sigmar is not hard on TTS. I certainly had a good time, despite some of the missions probably being less than ideal. And also like a million, half the tournament was Kroak players, but that's just like the world we live in. Like I can't bring myself to bring Kroak now because of that. I ended up actually tying my final round, which I didn't realize you could do until it actually says on the mission that you can potentially tie. But at the end, me and my opponent, we both had one hero on one objective, and there was no way we were either getting to him. And the only crazy point is an unwounded Carnosaur Scarvet charged 3 Blood Crushers and died to Blood Crushers because the Blood Seculator was still alive, did 5 mortal wounds and a bunch of wounds, and I just failed 7 saves badly, and it was a nightmare, and I absolutely hated it, and I was immediately like, I hate this game. But that's just me.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, talking about Kroak, and like literally, it's like half the meta. This event we're about to cover, I can't wait for you to. Can't wait over like, it's like the story continues to be true for like the entire global population.
I think okay. So to preface all of this, everyone, we are going to be going over an event tonight, and after looking at it, I got to say, I would not be shocked if if the December FAQ ended up putting Kroak to like, I thought originally I was like 80 points is a big stretch, maybe putting him over to like from 320 to 400, but now I'm like 450, like just make him so outrageous where it's like you really got to commit to actually bringing him in your army. I kind of feel like that's worth it. And by the way, side note, when I did fight against Kroak, the buffed up Scar veteran charged Kroak, did all of his attacks. He can kill like a 20 wound model on the charge by himself, kill a 20-man unit, and he did 3 of 7 wounds to Kroak. I was like, wait, he can actually like last in combat too, despite him being like a master caster.
How do you think he compares to the Vermin Lord, right? To the Vermin Lord Warp Seer, the evil, famed Vermin Lord Warp Seer that got its points increased 3 times since the codex was released last year.
Yep. I prefer the Vermin Lord Warp Seer. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's not so bad. He's like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that
guy. That was fun back then. That was a challenge, but fun.
If you recall, and if John wants to do a throwback to Wide World of Wargaming, if you recall, there was a Wet Coast, the last Wet Coast that happened, where Jeremy did get the bad touch from Vermin Lord Warp Seer that could not fail a save. He said something that was like 96 saves in a row he successfully passed, and Jeremy was like keeping count.
I mean, he had like a 4-up save of 3 5-ups. So like he could
a rerollable 4-up plus 2 5-ups.
Yeah. So like
and with this event, there was a lot of Seraphon players, but and this event specifically was also called, it was the Fantasia Fanatic XXXVIII, because I don't have the Roman numericals
it's
memorized.
Fantasia Fanatic.
I mean, I guess that's 2020. But oh yeah.
Is that what it means? Is that the 3XV and 3 Y?
I'm gonna guess that it's 2020. Okay. I could be very wrong there.
No, that means that's 38.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that's what I said, but I was like, maybe I'm wrong.
It's 38.
Yeah, it's
that number is
38.
38.
Okay, and this is in the Västerbotten county in Sweden, and it had a good number of players. It had a good showing here. This is, of course, an Age of Sigmar tournament. These guys have a YouTube channel, the people who run it. They had 26 people show up. One, definitely absolute winner for Wooden Spoon in last place with a draw and 4 losses. But, you know, looking at the top group here, it's exactly what we talked about. It is primarily Seraphon, but we got a little surprising bit of information here when we look at the top results. You know, there's well, first of all, I'm proud of myself for not fucking up the name, or at least not fucking it up as badly as I could. So I feel like credit should be due for that. But
We'd like to acknowledge at this moment Alex and his superior wordsmithing skills and pronunciation of
Could have been
foreign
worse.
words.
Could have been worse.
He'll be rewarded with Swedish fish later.
I actually fucking love Swedish fish, so that's perfect.
Oh, they're vegan.
Another thing
They are vegan. That's right. You are absolutely correct. They are. So we have Jonas Paro, and he brought his Ossiarch Bone Reapers for first. We then have Anton Senlund for his Fangs of Sotek. Shocking. I guess you know, there might be a Kroak in that list. Color me shocked. Then we have Albert Burnett Johansson. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Johansson. Yeah, and then he's got a Thunder Lizard, so we got a coalesced Seraphon army, a little bit more down to earth. Then, you know, in 4th and 5th, we got a Disciples of Zinch ran by Jester Menlander, and then we have an Anton Sandstrom with his another Ossiarch Bone Reaper army, and both of them are both Mortis Praetorian. So they've been kind of like, we haven't been really seeing a lot of death armies with the kind of like resurgence of these shooting armies. We've been seeing, you know, KO, and then we've been seeing, you know, KO and Seraphon and all these other ones with some random armies in between. We haven't been seeing a ton of an events, primarily with, say, like OBR podiuming, or really, frankly, any death army being on the podium. But I gotta say, that guy's team name for the 5th place, I certainly was looking at it and thinking it was a different word a lot of the time, because a lot of them are on team Fusk, and it's all Fusk in like capitals. So you can just, you know, with the font that Blesko Superians has, you know, there's one conclusion you go to if you just barely glance at it. So looking at this, I mean, John, I know that you know, obviously under COVID, we haven't really been going to a lot of events. We haven't been playing. We haven't been practicing a lot of things. And I know that these these armies that podiumed, they're not armies that, you know, you play yourself, of course. But, you know, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, Alex, it's not that I don't play them. It's I have not played against these armies. Well, I should say that Ossiarch Bone Reapers I've played against because they're really unchanged, right? So, but like Seraphon, I have not played against the new Seraphon. I've played a lot against the old Seraphon, and I haven't played against the new Zinch yet either. So there's actual armies here. Yeah, even though they were out sort of before the end of COVID, I myself just never ended up playing against them. So, yeah. Although of course you remember from the LVO, I did get to watch some people play against them. Yeah, that's for sure. So as I look at these, you know, it's funny. I look at these top armies, and there's no surprises, though. I'm surprised to see Ossiarch Bone Reapers so in the top in this particular meta, but to see them doing well, I'm not surprised, right? But then I go all the way down, right? All the way down to 10th place, right? Which I see Mr. Martin Meyer brought his Skaventide list in there, right? Oh, yeah. And it's a nice little list. You know, he brought his Arch Warlock. He brought 60 Clan Rats and 2 Doom Wheels, which they're terrible. But you know what? He's having fun, and people are focusing on him because they're doing weird stuff, and it's just a distraction. And then he's got 12 Storm Fiends. So real nice shooty list that got him up to 10th place. And then I made another observation is, as much as we see these armies at the top, we see all the top armies at the top, and then the middle of the pack is kind of a whole mix. And then we go to kind of the middle bottom, and we see all the same armies that are at the top repeated again at the middle bottom, except, of course, all the way at the end where we see Ogre Mautrais and Gloomspite Gits, right? But it's just kind of this weird little symmetry that's going on. So interesting lists going on here. I myself look forward to the days when I get to go to a tournament, or honestly, just back to my game store to get some to play against some of these new armies, new lists, to experience this new meta. Because boy, it sure is hard for me to get anything going on. And I'll tell you what, I'm real tempted to just go ahead and like overdose on a bunch of Dramamine and see if I could survive through one of Garrett's TTS tournaments. I might have to just go ahead and join the next one. We'll see how that goes.
See, John, what you do actually is you join someone's game as a spectator.
Ooh,
and you
that's good.
spectate. So you like join Alex. So when Alex playing a game, he sets up the server that can have 3 players in the server. So you don't have to watch the Discord stream. You can instead join as a spectator and join the Discord channel as a voice person, so you can hear people talk. And then you can actually then watch the game yourself
control
from your own.
camera.
You control the camera then.
Yes. Okay. That's a
a
great idea.
really good idea.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And you can actually then stream on our Interface Twitch channel, and you could be the shopcaster for that game.
Ooh. Okay. Well, you're getting me interested now. Getting me interested.
Solutions to every problem.
There you
That's why we
go.
keep
I
you
like
around.
that.
The solution man.
So, I mean, looking at this tournament, right? I also got to say, I was shocked that there was a Night Haunt player. He also didn't have a battalion who was, in here too. And my funniest, the thing that I enjoy the most is there's an Alexis Herbeck who brought Lumineth Realm Lords, but his Lumineth Realm Lords, I got to say, you guys, his list. I mean, he didn't podium, but like, he's got his article of Master of the Skies. He's got his Aether Chemist. He's got his 3 Coconut Company. That Lumineth list is like super strong. It's I'm looking. I mean, it shows Lumineth, and he's got the right Skyport, and I'm shocked, dude. You guys, like, he lost 2 games, but I mean, he shouldn't have. He lost his first and last games with.
He didn't have
Lumineth
Teklas.
Overlords.
Come on, he didn't take Teklas.
Yeah,
Your
well,
crutch.
Yeah, no, there's a Realm Lords player, or there's a KO player, but he's listed as playing Lumineth, so got to kick out of that
Can you
for
even
sure.
take Teclis in an allied slot? How
Nope.
many points is he? No, he's too
No.
big.
660.
Okay, yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
by the
do
way,
I think
yeah.
my favorite list I heard about is a mixed order list. Teclis, Alariel, Marathi, and like
Celestin Prime.
three random battle line units, like 3 handgun units or 3 guild guard. It's like, fuck it. Done.
What is the cheapest battle line in the order?
Guild guard.
It's Guild
points
Guard
or something. 60
Free
or
guild
80
guard.
points.
Do you
Oh
get
yeah,
your
I think
free,
there's 60 for 10.
Does Alariel get her free summon?
Yes. So Marathi,
It's weird.
Alariel,
I
Teclis.
I love that he's like considering it. I'm like, no. Like, don't bother.
Before we go on too much of a tangent here, I do want to share that there was a list that came up today that was a little funny for Beasts of Chaos. It was a Beast Lord, 3 units of 10 Ungors, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 Cockatuses.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
yeah, the
what
cock
was that?
list.
The cock list, yes.
The cock
Yeah.
list, yes, the cock list.
Oh, so that's a thing.
Amazing. I love
Wait.
the
Oh yeah, it's a
cockatry.
thing.
The cock
Yeah, it's a
list is a thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they do
It's
range
totally a
mortal
thing.
wounds. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
they basically do ranged mortal wounds, and they're not
Yeah.
they're not a behemoth anymore. They may
Yeah,
never have
they
been. I
are?
think they used to.
They
be,
were
but they're
never a
not
behemoth.
anymore. Oh yeah, so they're never a behemoth. So
They
they're
had
like
no degrading profile.
so you bring as many cocks as you can, and you just try to blast them with mortal wounds. I played it at LVO 2019. Actually, I played the cock list. It was I think about
Was it
8
Legion of
cocks. With my Legion of the Night, yeah, it was about 8 cocks.
Was,
Was 3.
How many metric ton of cocks was that?
Okay, dude, I
I
would, if that list wasn't horrible, I would love to run it and just wear the like inflatable dick suit.
Yeah.
It seems so appropriate.
Bill Souza was talking about how he was upset because Adepticon was going to do their team tournament, and he was upset that they limited that each person can't bring the same
Horse roll.
Grand Alliance, because he was like, he was just like, we're going to be team cock, and we're all just going to bring as many cocks, and that's our whole team tournament. It's just cocks, just
I like
cockatrices
that. I
all
like that.
across
There's-
the field.
There's just nothing but cocks everywhere.
I love it.
Oh, God.
boy. Well, this tournament didn't have any cockatrices though. They had some cock lists though. I'll tell you what. Looking at
I love how you
What?
pronounce that. It's cockatrice. It's
Yes,
not
cockatrice.
oh, I didn't call it by the real name. No, I called it cock.
okay.
No,
What
no.
do you-
No, that was by no means an. I didn't try.
I
thought I tried?
revoke your Swedish fish. I'm revoking
Okay,
it right now.
I was about to say, holy shit. Looking at number one, right? With the Bone Reapers, their biggest change with the General's Handbook, you don't want to bring Petrifex anymore, which isn't a huge deal. It just means that you always bring Catacross. Unless you bring Stalak Lords, then you bring like Nagash, so he's like retreating and charging. That's hilarious, and running and charging. But we got Catacross, we got a Mortisan Bone Shaper with the Artificer's Blade. He's then got the Empower Nadrite Weapons spell. We have 40 Mortec Guard in a unit, 20 Mortec, and 10 Mortec, all with Nadrite Blades. It's not a shocker. Mortec Shield Core, so they get their free Relentless Discipline point for making themselves reroll saves in the combat phase, or at least you don't spend the first discipline point for that in each combat phase. But then what breaks my heart, this guy had to buckle in this current meta with Skinks and Hag Queens and all these other weak characters. He buckled, and he was his resolve and his constitutions were weak. And he brought 2 Mortec.
He didn't
crawlers.
hydrate enough.
He brought 2 Mortec crawlers, which I just can't approve of. But
I mean,
that's what he brought. That's what he brought.
That's in his defense. I looked who he played. He played against both the number 2 and number 3 Seraphon players. And I'll be honest, in a shooting meta, like
yeah.
Mortec crawlers gonna kill skinks, and they're gonna kill like this priest. Like they're gonna
Still
do a
can't
number
bring
on this
myself to
game.
run them, but I understand that it's since they hit on 2s, the -1 to hit is almost doesn't matter because it's then 3 shots hitting on 3s. Oh my god! And then you can't give him an additional shot. No,
Yeah, you can with
Can.
with
Give
the
them an
Leech
additional
Cavalos.
shot with-
Or,
with
No,
a-
you can't. They FAQ'd it that you can't.
the FAQ.
Okay.
You can't.
Yeah. The Leech Cavalos can't give them.
to the internet. All right. Well,
Yeah.
while Alex continues and Garrett,
We can't give them.
Solution Man.
We can't give them Rend and Skink Priests and Skink Chiefs and all that. They all have 5-up and 6-up saves. So I mean, they are some of the best support characters in the game. And they can't. So having them be 4 to 5 wounds with a 5-up save. If they're hitting on 3s and they're wounding on 3s with a -1, then still really likely that you're probably going to kill them if you just dedicate. Just sure, 200-point unit is killing a 60 or a 60-point priest or 70-point priest or a 120-point star priest, but still, like I would say that that's worth it with the amount of debuffs that you've just eliminated off that Seraphon player's table.
So Garrett is wrong, and that's okay.
I figured he was wrong, but I didn't want to look it up.
They
I was
can't
just-
give an extra attack to the special catapult shots.
Oh, that's what it was.
yes.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah. So there are some 2 special shots. One of them is basically anti-Skaven, and then the other one requires you to be almost dead, and it becomes anti-hero. And those are just different buffs that you get as the unit degrades. It is really weird. Yeah. So actually, both of the special ammo degrade or get better as the crawler
degrades.
takes damage. The problem is the crawler, if it takes damage, it's just going to lose everything, and it's not viable anymore. Looking at second place here, talking about you can't zoom in. Garrett, hey, QA time. His head's down.
He's
I'm listening.
he's avoiding your shame look.
It would be great. To,
Wait, Alex, are you on an Apple device?
No.
Oh, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because
I
Garrett doesn't
can
wanna hear it.
zoom in. I can
Yeah.
zoom in right now on my iOS device.
so wait. Are we to assume that Garrett doesn't care about a portion of his customer base?
Me
Well,
personally, no, that's not my job to. I'm the iOS developer.
Oh, you're like, that's not my department. Talk to
It's
someone
not
else.
my talk to
Oh, yeah,
them.
that's a smarter move. It's a
In
smarter
his,
move.
in his defense, Garrett's never cared about customers. He would like to stay away from people as much as possible.
That's because he's a smart man.
Yeah, I don't talk to customers.
That being said, I can't zoom in, so I'm just gonna put my head as close to it as possible. We got Lord Kroak. We got an Engine of the Gods. We got a Skink Oracle with Eye of Serpents. We got a Skink Priest. We got a Starseer. We got 4 units of 10 Skinks. We have un salamander, and 2 Bastillodons with a Thunderquake, Temple Host, and Balewind Vortex. Wait, I'm actually really confused as to why this did well. There's no
What do you mean?
buffs. So hold on, and like I understand, haha, it's Kroak, haha, it's Fengus Sotek. It had to have done well. I get that, right?
Well,
But
this is the
there's-
Thunder Lizard list. It's not Fangs
Oh.
Sotek.
Yeah, this is a Thunder Lizard.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
He shot
Thunder
people with
Lizard.
Bastillodons.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
he
Bastillodons
croaked
are
people.
Yeah, but Kroak requires you. Well, in order for Kroak to really croak, he needs to be like danger close to people, and so
No.
having the added range.
He has his
is like,
Skink Oracle. On,
oh yes, okay, totally.
he's
and then the Skink
table
Oracle's
wide.
got-
Yeah, table wide. It's table wide as long as he can cast from the Skink Oracle table wide. He doesn't have to be within 12.
Well, no, then I guess the
Table
his-
wide
his-
auras.
Well, no. So John, the all Slan models, including Kroak, they can see through the eyes of. They can like possess skink oracles, and there's only, and it says that as though there are multiple oracles. There's only one oracle keyword, and that's the guy on the Troglodyte. Only him.
Oh.
So they can't see through skink wizards too, but there's some sort of benefit with the Troglodyte one. I forgot what it was, but essentially it's like the Troglodyte becomes a super mobile, always moving, you always control it spell portal for Slan, essentially. And so I guess that makes sense because then it's got 2 extra wounds and a Thunder Lizard. It's like 10-inch move. I mean, like Kroak's AoE 10-inch bubble for doing a lot of damage, in addition to Celestial Hurricane or whatever it's called, Celestial Deliverance. I could see why.
Celestial
having
Deliverance and Comet's Call, but yes.
That's what I'm
Comet's
thinking
Call.
of. Celestial Deliverance
Yeah.
and Comet's Call. Really, really good combo. Because one of them is table wide anyways, and the other one
Comet's
requires you to
Call,
be within
yeah.
10 inches. Yeah. So, wow. I didn't think of that. This is like the first time where I'm like, that's actually a really good combo.
Yeah, because Kroak.
Yeah.
Because Kroak. Yeah, it's the so there was like 5 Seraphon players, I think, at that event. All of them brought Kroak. Like, not a single list did not have Kroak in that list.
Well, at least when I bring my physical Seraphon to the table, probably people are going to be like, we don't know what to do with Seraphon because there won't be a Kroak.
I mean, yes, it comes down to the fact that Kroak puts out an average of easily, let's see, the math, like 12 to 14 mortal wounds on the table if you can keep casting his 10-inch aura from whatever. So
Very
like
first-
That's per game, not per turn, right?
No, per
per
turn.
turn.
Per turn.
per
turn.
turn.
John, I shit you not this last COVID tournament, because I did fight against a Croclist in this one. He did some damage to me, but I shit you not, the very first one, Garrett, like RTT GT I went to, I played the Razor's Edge, one of that new mission where all the objectives are right next to each other. And there's a guy who brought an Astrolith Bearer and he brought Kroak on a Balewind, both of which increase the distance of friendly wizard spells by 6 inches, which added 12, which gave him like a 22-inch bubble for that ability. He did 18 wounds on average to me per turn. He tabled me because he just moved Kroak to the middle, put him on a Balewind, had the added distance, and it was like techless, but a cheaper investment, and still had other good shit to do.
About the same
And-
amount of points at that point.
No, cheaper. Balewind's 40, brings him from 320 up to 360. Then the Astrolith Bearer is 140, brings him up from 360 to 500. So he's 160 points less than Techless.
Yeah.
With that investment.
It's the idea that like for example that game I watched Garrett play. Like after the KO player killed like 5 of the heroes, the except for the salamanders, his effective Seraphon list was completely neutered. Like all of the power came from like buffing up the skinks with the heroes, and they were dead, right? So all you had left was Kroak and salamanders. And the thing about Kroak is like you can make him +3 to cast very easily, and the +2 about +4.
Yeah, you can make
and-
it pretty easy.
And all of a sudden, like that rebuttal from Kroak in that game basically took the frigates down to like less than like 5 wounds, and also killed like 2 heroes, and took like one or two gun haulers off the table. Like it literally just Kroak himself like basically said, I don't need the rest of my army. I just need me. And he just like blah.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Kroak roll a natural 8 when in range of 2 Hex Scourger Skulls.
And forget that.
Lose. He unlearns Celestial Deliverance, takes D6 mortal wounds, and it's auto unbound. Just like you.
I gotta say, I absolutely hate the Bloodthirster Insensate Rage. We don't have to talk about it right now. We're not going to, but I'm just gonna let you know. Not a huge fan of it.
So, and I wanted to.
Hot, I can understand why you'd hate that one.
But for John's perspective, like, yes, I don't mind your Vermin Lord so much anymore. In fact, we can go back to the old points of the Vermin Lord. I'd be pretty okay with that. Like, it's just like balance. after Kroak, I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. Like that. Which Workshop is like, that's fine.
The 300, the 280, or the 260. How old are we talking about here?
Like 260. I'm fine with 260.
Oh, the original.
Yeah,
okay,
the original one. I'm fine. Like
it changed 4 times.
At least a Vermin Lord doesn't generate like an average of like think like
on target.
Celestial Deliverance, by the way, for most people, we're making it sound like it affects everything in range. It's 3 units in range, right? It's not like so every time he
or on 2-up.
2-up. Every time he casts a Celestial Deliverance, he gets to pick 3 units within the range. On a 2-up, they take D3 mortal wounds. And then if they're demon keyword, they just take flat 3. So your Vermin Lord would just evaporate because he's a demon. So it's just
he lost his double 5-up.
Yeah, and he lost his double 5-up. That's right.
And then
it's
looking at real quick, looking at second place here, also Seraphon. By no stretch of the imagination, you guys are going to be shocked when I tell you this, but the general is Lord Kroak. He also has Stellar Tempest. I don't know why they keep on picking Stellar Tempest. Is that just? It's not a good spell. I mean, it's like a meh, like Grand Treason of Tzeentch or whatever. Like I don't really think it's all that crazy, but I see that we have a Stegadon Skink Chief. A Skink Chief on Stegadon, so that's some big dick energy right there. That's not something you often see. A Skink Star Priest, a Skink Priest, a Pterodon Chief, so we already know where this is going. John, are you aware of some of these buffs that each one of these things do?
No, just enlighten me, man. I'm
okay. So
it sounds scary.
Real quick, this is going to take no time, but I'm gonna give you a little rundown. Lord Kroak, absolute caster monster. Stegadon Skink Chief. I'm gonna guess he's there for battalion. He's not, so he's just there for fun. We have a Skink Star Priest. He's there, so he has a 3-up prayer that he can give to a skink unit, which could be the Stegadon because he's got the skink keyword, or salamanders, or pterodons, or something like that, or even just regular unit of skinks. And on a 3-up, that unit wholly within 12 inches, they get +1 to their armor save, and they also now have the ability to run and charge, run and shoot, etc. They can run and still do things like shoot, charge, etc. So it's a pretty big buff, and he's only 70 points. He also can give, for a command point, his command ability is +1 to hit for a skink unit. Then we have the Star Priest, which is almost always a requirement. I have 2 of them in my current list. Granted, I don't have Kroak. I just have my only 2 casters are 2 Star Priests. So swear to God, you guys, I'm trying here. And they have like a -1 to hit spell. But what's more important is that in the hero phase, if they have a friendly unit wholly within 12, they can give them poison from the Serpent Staff. So 6s to wound for that unit's attacks, cause a mortal wound in addition to damage. So if you can do that to like a 40-man unit of skinks, that's 80 shots hitting on 5s, wounding on 5s. So you can have like
and then 80 attacks in melee after that.
And then 80 attacks in melee after that. They might not be hitting all that well, but 6s to wound cause mortal wounds in addition to. So that can be pretty helpful.
All you're farming for at that point is 6s.
Exactly. And then we have the Pterodon Chief. The only reason why you take him, he's a really cheap hero. He's also incredibly weak. The only reason you bring him is he is a 70-point tax so that your Pterodon riders don't take their mortal wounds from dropping the rocks on a 4-up. Instead, it's a 2-up. So for a command point.
I can't believe how cheap these characters are. I mean, these are cheap characters with really good buffs and command abilities. Again, I mostly compare things to Skaven. You're paying 80 points for a Plague Priest with no command ability.
For the record,
points for a wizard.
For the record, the Star Priest is 120, pretty on average for level 1 spellcasters.
Okay, that is normal.
the priest and the chief are both 70 points, but the difference is the priest is like very, very tiny, has a small profile, and depending on the terrain, you can hide him. The skink chief is on a pterodon, so he's got a 50 mil base, and he's like flying on a pterodon. He's -1 to hit in combat, but he's got a 6-up save, and he's just right out there in the open. He's actually very, very fragile. But again, you only bring him so that the pterodons can do their thing on a 2-up. And in my games, like against Seraphon, the guy was like, oh, cool. The Stellodons are killing that thing first. And of course it died because it had a 6-up save. But I still was able to be pretty successful with my pterodons afterwards. He then has a unit of two units of 10 skinks. He has 30 skinks as well, all with bone spitters, the blowpipes. He's got 9 pterodon riders with Sunleech bolas. That was not a shock to us because of the pterodon chief. We then have a unit of 3 salamanders in a hunting pack. And then Balewind Vortex, Geminids, and one other hero I forgot, which is the Astrolith Bearer, which is what we talked about before. The Astrolith Bearer adds +1 to cast for all Seraphon wizards wholly within 12 of him. And then he gives off a 6-up shrug to units within 12 of him. And 6 inches to the range of spells.
The shrug is just within, not wholly within?
It's holy.
No,
It's holy.
It's wholly within.
Oh, okay,
It's wholly.
okay.
So
he gives a 6-up shrug, +1 to cast, and 6-inch extra range to cast.
And one more thing.
And the extra D3s, the other D3
constellation
summoning
points.
points.
Yep.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And so in a Fangs of Sotek list, he is almost like an auto include if you're going to bring a Salon, because he buffs the Salon up so much with extra range and all that, let alone Kroak. And then him and the engine, like it adds a lot more summoning mechanics to the game if you bring a Starborn army, which I have literally yet to even play a Starborn army. But yeah, I guess there's a reason why this did well.
Well, it's so I mean, I avoid derailing too much. Like, so once again, 5 Seraphon players, Fangs of Sotek, Thunder Lizards, and there was 1 Catal Claw. Even the Catal Claw player had like
did he?
Kroak. Yeah, he even had
I'm
Kroak
disappointed. Let me be disappointed for a second.
I was doing some talking. I think Garrett and maybe you, John, heard me talking about this earlier today or last few days. Was that so? There's AOS Dan, which is a Twitter personality who tracks like events for AOS and who wins and who gets podium finishes. Since the Lumina box set was released, out of the, and I'm gonna exclude the Italian Masters event because Italian meta is always abnormal. I think they just play for fluff reasons more than anything, and it's just consistently true. It's not even shade at them. I think that's just what they prefer. And out of 20 events, excluding that Italian Masters event, 15 podium finishes were either Teleporty KO, Teleporty Fangs of Sotek, or Thunder Lizards, which don't teleport, but just have the ability to just move and shoot at like fairly decent range effectively. And that was all of the podium finishes for first place. Then when you look at the
5?
Other 5s are OBR, Legion of Grief, and Fire Slayers. And then there was one more. There was one more army. I think it was Jaws of Mork. I think one of them was a Jaws of Mork in like somewhere. But like,
you're talking about the COVID tournament?
No, I'm talking about like just all the. So AOS Dan publishes material every week.
Yes.
AOS Shorts.
So AOS Shorts, yes. And it was like it was kind of. Oh, and sorry, there was one more shooting army in the mix. It was Shootcast, Impulse of Heldenheimer, Shootcast, which is basically the counter to Seraphons and KO in a way because they're teleporty shooting, but they're really good at just taking out heroes as well. So they're trying to take out
teleporty shooting though,
or more teleporty shooting. And the rest of when you look at the first to third place podium finishes, it was about 55% of the podium finishes were teleporting shooting armies, and the other 44% were like melee brawl style list or some kind of shooting army.
Jeremy, if we're going to go on this tangent real quick, I'm looking at the exact image, and in terms of first place, it's actually really wild. I don't see as much Seraphon as I see something else here. So all these events between Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the United States, Czech Republic, Sweden, Canada, Poland, and many others, we're looking at KO, cities, KO, Deepkin, Zinch, cities.
Yeah, he was talking about Teleport shooting. KO.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is Tzeentch, Fire Slayers, Seraphon, Stormcast, Fire Slayers, KO, Big Wa, Maw Tribes, Legion of Grief, Seraphon, Stormcast, Bone Reapers, and KO again. Like KO
Yeah, and
is there.
all those Stormcasts are shooty teleport armies. They're all Envil of an Heidenheimer 1-drops. I actually went through the trouble of looking up all these lists
Yeah.
that I could find, and everything is like literally a shooty teleport army.
My interesting thing here is I see that out of the 3 placing first place Seraphon, only 2 of them are only 2 of them are teleporting. One of them is not. But then you look in the third place standings of all these tournaments, and there's like 7 Seraphon players.
Yeah,
and almost all of them are Fangs.
You're just you're just realizing the same thing I just explained, which is that 55% of podium finishes are shooty teleport armies. So that's why
I'm not coming to that conclusion. I'm just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
No, it's different. One of them is like, oh my God, thank you. You enlightened me. And no.
I'm trying to enlighten the
Lords.
viewers. I'm trying to enlighten the viewers, not you, Alex. You can live
Hey,
in the
there's
dark
a Baleful Lords player too that also had.
Yeah, he's saying the other 45% is brawlers. If you actually were listening to Jeremy's.
No. I'm okay. Half the time he's trying to bully me, so I just kind of like zone it out of my. I have selective.
To Jeremy's point, it's like we have entered a meta that is just crazy shooting with movement-based teleport mechanics, and it's clearly winning by a long shot.
Yep.
And it's like Jeremy posted on Twitter earlier, and it's like, this is the reason I stopped playing AOS back in like March or May or whatever, is that basically when Seraphon started dominating, I was like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game, unfortunately, doesn't have built in the mechanics to defend against shooting. It doesn't have the kind of terrain that you might, and terrain rules that might assist with that, line of sight blocking. It doesn't have the lookout sir type rules, whether we want to talk about, 40K style lookout sir, or even older types of lookout sir where you pass wounds off onto adjacent units, more of a bodyguard mechanic, if you will. And that's what we need in AOS, is now you've created this highly dominant shooting. Now the rules have to rebalance that so that melee and shooting exist in harmony to each other.
I would even go a step further. If I didn't play 8th edition, but I followed it a ton, they went through a whole swath of mitigating teleport mechanics to prevent alpha strikes.
Yeah.
In modern 8, like, you can't deep strike turn 1 at all, period, in 40K. And so AOS doesn't have...
I'm sorry to say, that's a thing that we know about all gaming, right? I don't care if you are talking video games, board games, tabletop games. Alpha strike mechanics are not fun mechanics.
Exactly. It's like AOS right now is filled with them. Yep. Massive amounts of alpha strike. All of these teleport shooting mechanics breed alpha strike and just murder on turn 1 mechanics. Or it's like, go second, alpha strike, win the double turn, alpha strike, beta strike, they're tabled. Like, that is what is going on right now. And like 9th edition 40K took all of the feedback of 8th edition, where they wanted to remove alpha strikes, have better terrain, like all of these problems that exist in a shooting meta where you have massive amounts of shooting power. 9th edition was like, how do we solve that problem? And that's why I'm really liking 40K, is because basically all the problems that are going in AOS, they were addressed in 8th edition 40K. Yeah. And so it's like the AOS right now just feels like this, like half my game, like I love the game, but half of my games, I'm not going to have fun. Like, I'm just going to get tabled. I'm just going to get annihilated. So it's like, I either got to just bring, like, I don't want to bring a teleport shooting army, because then I'm just like being part of the problem. And am I going to have fun just teleporting and shooting my opponent? This is one of the conversations I was having with my friend Matt Barker. Is he wanted to come over and play during this COVID time when I had actually a table to set up and I was having people over, and he's like, I want to play my KO. And I'm like, okay, well, you have to tell me what army you want to play against for me to proxy, because of all the armies I own, it's not going to be a game. My Sylvaneth, my Khorne, my Legions, you're just going to table me. It will be over. Neither of us will have fun. And there's no point you coming to my house to do that. So I instead borrowed his Nurgle and we had a real game and it was fun. But it's like, I had to have that conversation where it's like, we only get 1 day a month that we get to play. And if you want to do it tabling me, I don't want you coming to my house. And like, that's just a weird ass conversation to have in this game.
No, but that I'm sorry, but that's actually the conversation that we should always be having, right? Outside of a tournament, you know, when we're talking about, you know, just playing with your friends in the garage or the game store, whether we're talking, you know, any Warhammer, whether we're talking Age of Sigmar or 40K, it's about that conversation. I mean, I myself, even when, you know, people were not having fun with 8th edition because it was very imbalanced, I was still playing it and having fun because I had a group of friends that we both own lots of armies and we could have that conversation ahead of time. Hey, what do you want to play? Well, I want to play this. Okay, well, if you're going to play that, I need to bring this. And then we would get together and literally rebalance our armies. What's your list look like? Oh, dude, my list can't handle that. Let's take some of this out. And so we'd work together to end up with armies that can play against each other. So my friend and I can have fun hanging out, rolling dice, and having a nice competition on the table. And that's what it took in 8th edition 40K to have fun. And I think that's what it takes right now if you want to have fun and balanced games in Age of Sigmar. You know, if you're going to go competitive, well, just like always, you have to pick the meta dominant army. Pick one of those shooting armies, go win, have whatever fun winning. But if you're going to beat with your buddies in the garage, have a conversation, work through not just the armies, but the lists, and maybe even bring extra models so you can balance. Now, I'm not talking about visiting Le Bogeyman in the oubliette of pain. I'm talking about maybe visiting my buddy Garrett on a weekend, right?
My problem is that I'm always a tournament focused player, and so I hate the fact that I have to have that conversation. To me, that is a failure of the system.
Is that why you chose those missions for the Garrett RTP?
No, I rolled them. The dice giveth and the dice taketh away. I'm sorry.
You rolled them. You rolled the missions.
I was like waiting. You know what? I'm waiting. If we're all quiet enough, we can hear Jeremy's blood pressure rise.
You know what?
I rolled missions for all 8.
All this talking is blocking that. Okay.
What I will say though, Garrett, you're off the hook because me and Alex are participating in another TTS event, and I asked the TO to not pick rulebook missions, and the first thing he did was, yeah, sure, we don't have to do that. Then he picked 3 rulebook missions,
and he was like, "Get to the heavens, escalation, border war. These are the 3 missions we're playing, everyone."
Places of Arcane Power is a General's Handbook mission. It is not a rulebook mission.
I know. I know. We talked about it earlier. I'm just. Don't get so aggressive.
He's trying to say he told the TO, hey, I explicitly don't want rulebook missions. And the TO said, okay, understood. By the way, everyone, 3 rulebook missions.
I noticed that. I was like, wait a minute. Escalation, Gift from the Heavens,
yes.
Border War. Like Border War versus Battle for the Past. I'm like, that's an interesting choice. Like Battle for the Past is General's Handbook. You explicitly want to play rulebook missions if you're playing Border War, because there is a exact copy of it that's not rulebook if you want to play that, you know, progressive style scoring standard, you know, not very exciting mission is Battle for the Past. I mean, Border War is the even more generic version of that mission.
Yeah, it is.
It's Phil Sousa, man. He's AOS hipster, so he's like, we're gonna do it the hipster way. We're no meta books and no GHB missions. We're going back in time, boys.
Oh boy, yeah. No, it's gonna be a whole hell of a thing.
I only asked, by the way, for non-rulebook mission because I really wanted to piss off Greg Geode by telling him, since we're playing GHB missions, you're gonna have to pick your hidden agendas. It's on the mission.
So, okay, I will say I've been doing some thinking for my future TTS tournaments from feedback I have gotten from various sources. And I think I'm just going to eliminate realms. I don't like them anymore. I've come to the conclusion.
There's nothing wrong with realms.
What?
No,
there's nothing wrong with realms.
There are issues with realms.
Don't stop being an idiot and bringing realm of metal. Just don't bring metal.
Or fire, because fire fucks with a lot of shit.
You have 5 other missions you can choose.
But like, it's just the
4.
realms
That's late.
don't.
4.
Yeah, 4. Like now we're down to 4.
That's fine.
One
Like-
realm for each day. One realm for the whole day.
So I'm like, I just like, what's the point of realms?
The
That's
fact
what
that
I
they're mass
said.
play.
I know,
That's
like
what
that's
I
where I'm at.
said.
I'm
you
like, I'm at the
armies
point-
that still need extra spells.
one extra spell that's bad.
I think not choosing realms is lazy and irresponsible. But if you
No,
want to be
it's-
lazy and
it's-
irresponsible, I'm not going to stop you.
Wow. No guilt here.
It's
Play the game
I
the
don't-
way it's supposed to be played.
I don't see the point in having realms anymore. They just they add honestly more complications to the game that are unnecessary
They
that
add
don't do enough.
barely any complications to the game.
Except
It
when
used to
every
add
terrain
big-
piece is volcanic and you have to roll for every
then
terrain.
turns
piece.
out this is a mission where you shouldn't be on terrain unless you really need to.
Anyways,
Saying.
the other thing is I'm going to move away from binary scoring because people are confused about how ties and strength of schedule work, and I'm just going to use the General's Handbook packet for how scores are done. I'm going to say everybody gets their 25 points for paint automatically because it's TTS. I'll let you guys decide if you get your sports or not, and then 5 points a hidden agenda for a total of 15 points, and 50 points or 60 points for a major win, 40 for a minor win, 30 for a tie, and then 20 and 10, or 20 and 0.
Wow.
Who is this
Just gonna-
man? What have you
I
done?
don't
we
Garrett?
took one step. So we took one step backward and 2 steps forward. I like it. I like it.
The man's spirit is broken. I think we need an intervention, guys. Despite the COVID, I think we all need to fly out to Virginia and give Garrett a big hug.
I don't think Jeremy
bring him
could.
back into the fold.
I think Jeremy would be like that scene on Step Brothers where they try to go in for a hug and he and they like go in. I feel like that would happen after this last week.
I'm still going to pick shitty missions. Next time I'll pick Take and Hold, Knife to the Heart, and 3 places.
It doesn't matter because the next
wait.
time the next time I'm playing, I'm gonna be playing Carrot on Overlord anyway.
What's
so
the very first mission?
I don't want to care anymore.
What's the very first mission again? The one where it's like 2 objectives 6 inches out from the middle of the table. What mission is that?
What if you played the same mission for 3 rounds?
That's an interesting thought.
John, that's a really dangerous thought. I never thought of that.
I'm gonna see. So wonderfully, the 2020 General's Handbook allows you to pick 2019 missions. Technically, if you decide to roll in the other table, so it's going to be relocation orb, relocation orb, relocation orb. Just
That's what
3
I'm
times in a
saying,
row.
man.
From 2019.
2019, yeah, 2019 relocation orb 3 times. Let's do a 5-round tournament. 5 relocation orbs in a row. Let's see if I can alienate that whole server. Just mass abandonment.
You just got to design the right list for that one.
Real quick, the mission I was thinking of just a moment ago, it's actually the last mission in the rulebook. It is in my opinion, the worst mission in the game. It's Take and Hold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Take and Hold, Knife to the Heart, and Blood and Glory. Just let's just do only those.
I'm just like waiting. Again, we can probably hear that blood pressure rise. But
I don't care. I'm playing KO next event. I'm done trying to make armies that are still good in this game that are not basically 2D teleport. I'm just gonna play KO. I bought a KO army. I've played them since the book drop, or actually both book dropped. I just ended up selling an army in between because I was just like, this army, they will never fucking fix this army.
No, I remember when you were trying to make it work back in the day. I remember all that. Yes.
Yeah, and it was just like, and I was like, but they didn't make it work. They just broke it even more, except in the wrong fucking direction. All I need them to do is go back to book points, revert all the point changes you did, go back to book points,
hold on. We know where this is going.
make me score in boats. Literally, that's all you got to do to fix the army.
I have heard that phrase said so many times. I just want boats to score. I just want boats to score. God damn it. Why can't I score in boats? I swear to God, I've heard this so much in 2020. Oh boy. This event was really interesting. What?
Never mind.
Yeah. No. What's up? No,
I was
please,
gonna make a comment.
please.
I was gonna make a comment about scoring in boats, but we'll just
No, you know what? I would love to hear it.
Wait. Hold up. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Is this for our after hours episode? We keep on referencing
Our only maze account.
Yeah, we reference after hours episodes enough where we should probably start having some. But yeah, okay. I'm very genuinely curious about this, but I understand.
No.
John is a respectful. He's a professional. He's holding back for a reason, is what we're saying. We're gonna keep it at that. Any final thoughts you guys have regarding this event? Any kind of weird observations you made? I mentioned the Night Haunt army that was there. Anything you guys have seen?
No, not really. There was once you get off of the meta busters at the top, I thought there was a nice mix of armies in the middle. So there really was a nice variety of armies that showed up for the day.
Yeah, this is giving me some vibes like I hate to say it, I do love Age of Sigmar. I mean, I love 40K, I love Age of Sigmar, I love them both, but I am getting some heavy late 7th edition vibes, late 7th edition 40K vibes, where it was like, oh, who podiumed? The usual suspects, Eldar, Space Marines, tight. What about that event? Oh, Chaos Demons got 3rd, but it was like the one broken list, and then Eldar, and then Space Marines. Oh, and then this event
plus demon summoning. Oh yeah.
Yeah, or the Ben Schmuller special, which was Space Marine Battalion with demon summoning in it.
Oh yeah, the Battle Company plus demon summoning. That was the best.
As much as I say that I hated that, I also brought a Destroyer Cult Decurion with Renegades with Thunder with like the quad mortars. So like I'm one to talk about stupid shit. But
that's awful. I mean, I certainly never ran Ultramarines and Tau together.
we were just talking about my Taudar earlier in the week in another chat. Yeah,
I know. It's like the Taudar. The according to Paul, never existed.
Yeah.
I genuinely forgot about the term Taudar.
That's actually why I have a Tau army. Is I bought Tau originally to complement my Space Marines, and I was originally going to paint all of my Tau in Ultramarines colors. And every time I said that to somebody, the look they gave me, I decided not to follow through.
I forgot about Taudar. I remember that phrase.
To drag our friend Paul just a moment, that exactly happened when he was like, Taudar didn't exist at this point in time. And I like went through it. I just recently saw like a flashback photos from a GT that was prior to the point he was talking about. I was like, well, I just so happened to have brought a Taudar list with he said Riptides didn't exist during Taudar, and I was like, I just so happened to have stumbled across an alternative with my Taudar that had 2 Riptides in it. Alex
is a time traveler.
Yeah, I guess
2 Riptides, 9 jet bikes, a warp.
2 Riptides, 9 jet bikes, an ethereal 30 or 40 Kroak, an Aegis defense line.
An Aegis defense line.
No. 2 units of 2 Tetras. 2 units of 7 Pathfinders, and either a unit of 3 Crisis Suits with Melta or 2 broadsides. I forgot what it was, with the 2 Ion Riptides. So yeah, I was a piece of shit.
7th edition was a piece of shit edition.
No, that was 6. That was 6. That was even earlier.
Oh yeah, straight up 6.
6.
That was 6.
7 and 6 was 6 also the one we had like the fucking Wolf Star with like Celestine.
That was 7th.
That was 7th. That was 7th. That's when I needed to convert over to the fucking Focus Death Ray, because it's
like, 6th edition had the still had Long Fang spam from 5th edition. They still had the missile spam, and then 7th edition is when we got Wolf Star, because we didn't get Thunderwolf Cavalry craziness until 7th edition Codex with Celestine.
Yeah.
Well, we have gotten on a 40K
Allies matrix.
Oh my God.
Remember the Allies matrix?
Yeah, it's in AOS now, by the way. They literally they carbon copied almost the exact same like art style.
But it is not legal. It's not legal in match play. That is
no, it is. It is.
It is.
It is for doubles events.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, doubles.
Okay. Wait,
really? It's actually a handy piece of information to have.
It's in the matched play section of the General's Handbook, but it is the Coalition of War, I think is what it's called, which is meant for
Coalition of Death.
Coalition of Death, that's what it is, which is meant for team-based games, but it is a matched play system.
So I wonder if the world comes to this new normal and we're able to go to tournaments again, I'm curious as to whether or not doubles tournaments will put that into effect.
They will doubles tournaments will use the Coalition of Death. Rules.
I need
Like
to take a
everyone
look,
was,
peek at that.
Sure.
everyone has been asking for a consistent doubles format for a long time. Everyone's having to make up their own, and this is GW going like, okay, here's your doubles format. Everyone's going to use Coalition. Let's be real. Everyone uses GHB missions. The AOS community just does whatever GW tells them to do. So they're going to use that.
Okay. On the off chance that LVO happens, and on the off chance that I'm, not playing on Sunday, Dayton and I from Party at the All Points, he and I are going to be in the doubles tournament, and one of us is going to be Macho Man Savage, and then he is going to be Hulk Hogan, and we're going to dress up, and we're going to be absolutely ridiculous and act
awesome.
like.
By the way, that is the most offensive thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, we're gonna act like it's like 1986 and we're coked out of our minds. And it's gonna be
not because you're
great.
dressed. It's offensive to me that you think like I'm gonna make it to day 3 and you're not even gonna invite me to this double event. You didn't even ask.
I already know where you're going. I already know where you're going. For the record, I already knew you were gonna be in there.
Not in this fucking meta.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just bring your Fire Slayers again. You'll be fine.
I was selfish. I didn't think
God,
about that.
I really don't want to.
Fire Slayers are really good.
But he doesn't want to is the problem.
Yeah. I played them for almost 2 years. Like I'm good, guys.
We've gone on a bit of a tangent here, but before we wrap things up tonight, I wanted to get some of your guys' thoughts. And we don't have to go into real big detail here, but I wanted to see your guys' thoughts because today when we recorded, we got some information about a few things related to Age of Sigmar that we've been waiting for eagerly. Primarily,
I haven't.
Oh boy!
I haven't been waiting.
You have not been waiting. I think Jeremy was waiting eagerly, and I think he may have been a little disappointed. But the Sons of Behemoth, we got quite a bit of rules today. We have no allegiance abilities or anything like that. We just know that there's going to be one. It's almost obvious from the models which ones are going to be allowed as allies for which armies or which grand alliances. But without that, we learned some of the main attacks. What are your guys' thoughts on Giants right now?
They're worse than Gortrak.
$100 for that kit.
Yeah. Honestly, I saw that and I was like, $120. That's not bad. Why is everyone freaking out? And then I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So,
it's 200, right? Yeah, it's 200.
195.
195. Yeah, so 195. So we'll get our 15% off from our favorite retailer. So that'll take it down to like
25 with the BCP code.
No, it's not 25. It's
Yeah,
15 then 10.
Which
It's
equates
not
to 25.
No, it does not.
No, if you do it in the order of operation that
No,
way.
John's right. It's
Less of a
10% from that new discounted price, not 10%
It's
from
like
the
ends
first
up it
retail
ends up
price.
becoming what, like 23% effectively or
Yeah,
something.
20.
Yeah, something like that. Nonetheless, so we go through that. So we take a quarter of the cost away, and we still have a $150 model. Now, to be fair, if we're buying an entire army and we want to run it is still one of the cheapest armies that you can run, but it is also one of the most expensive or maybe the most expensive non-Forge World kit that GW has produced to date. And it is a gorgeous looking model. Those giants, the detail. I like the bondage dude with the leather mask. I think he's pretty cool. I think that the actual fun would be converting multiples together to make something new and unique. But I'm not going to dump $600 on some cool new model either. So that I'm not going to do a lot of conversion at that cost either. So that's my personal disappointment.
Games Workshop's most expensive model is Smog. Is actually not a Forge World model. It's a Games Workshop model, and he is like
really
$500.
Okay, wait. If you do this, it's Smog. I would love to know.
Well,
actually.
Okay, Cumber bitches. Let's see. I want to point out that's like I think per $1 per point, so it's probably the most expensive point cost because 3 of them is $1,600, and it's sorry, 1,600 points is $600.
I want to talk about Grok big mech guns, which were
that's fair.
$50 for 30 points.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think
that's pretty bad.
At least you're getting your volume of plastic in a sense.
Well, if you're an art player, you're not just converting shit out of like toothpicks and stuff. You're doing something wrong already.
I just just focus back on like the rules for a second, like so because you accuse me of being sad about the rules, and at face value, yes, I'm a little sad about like their war scroll rules, like their damage output is basically on par with like a Frost Lord, a Stone Lord on a
Yeah.
sorry,
So
a Stone
far.
Lord on a
Frost
Frost
Lord
Lord
on
and
a
a Stone
Stone
on a Stone Horn. Yeah. Dyslexia. But they're what, like four? No, they're a little bit more than 420 points.
420-ish.
Yeah, and they're slightly slower. They have some unique abilities to pick out models from units, which is nice. But like in terms of like the wound count, yes, there's 35 wounds, but they didn't clarify that they count those wounds for objectives. So it's like still a single model, as far as we know, until we see allegiance rules. And the fact that they do about like the same as a Frost Lord on the Stonehorn is not that exciting in terms of damage output. Games Workshop has a tendency to just things are destruction or very similar to destruction armies. They tend to just, I don't know, somehow be overly cautious about making them actually destructive. And like it just looks to me like a Maw Crusher is effectively the same amount of damage output, but like half the wounds and around the same point. So you could say it's better than a Maw Crusher, but it's like it's still like, come on, guys, like if you don't solve if it's only a single model for objective purposes, that's never going to work. So hopefully that's something they fixed. And then I hope that they give them like a double activation trigger or mechanic, because like right now they're going to get tar pitted so fast by so many armies. And it's just like, I don't understand. So like for me, I thought Lumineth was going to add something to the meta, but right now, based on what I can see of Behemoth, they add like nothing to the meta.
Oh, nothing. Absolutely
nothing. So the Allegiance better fix that. If not, like people are going to be, it's going to be nice. People are going to bring Behemoth for calls and, for funds and kicks. But like, I need something to displace the shooting meta, and I was hoping Sons of Behemoth would be potentially that. And right,
they need a lot of rules. They need knight-like rules, like we're doing 40k knights, where they can walk in and out of combat at will, walk over other units at will. Area stomp effect. So if you try to tar pit them, that actually goes against you because they get one attack per model within 1 inch during melee.
Yeah, so there's a guy that does that, but he's capped at 10.
See, that's the mistake. I mean, because that's what you need with these large, easy to target models. Like you say, 35 wounds is awesome. But I used to play a knight army, and a knight army was a very binary thing. You either stomped all over people or you got tabled, right?
Yeah.
And I see that's how it's going to be with these things. Is you're either going to have the tools to deal with them, and you're going to lose half the time, or you're going to face people that have no idea how to deal with them, and you're going to stomp all over them.
So, Jeremy, to your comment about GW seems to be extra cautious about making destruction armies actually destructive. I think they are incredibly fearful of the double battle brew Stonehorns back in the day. Yeah. And they have just been paying for that forever. Double battle brew Stonehorn. They ruin destruction forever.
But I can't live to that standard anymore because of what they did with KO and Seraphon.
Oh yeah, I know.
Year. It's just
100%.
You fought so hard to design rules to not be like a shooting meta teleportation army, and you basically for 2.5 years are like none of this shit, and then they're like, now we're just gonna be okay with it again.
I for one am really interested to see what they do with their allegiance abilities. So far I agree with you guys. It's like kind of like, oh, okay, well they're killing, but they're not like crazy outside of what we've already seen. I do appreciate the fact that the death oriented one or the executioner looking one can destroy terrain, but then that becomes a whole nother issue where it makes me think of 7th edition 40k again, where there was Withering Worldscape for Space Marines, and then rebranded and renamed for Chaos Space Marines, where you could move a piece of terrain. And if you're removing or moving a piece of terrain, I think that's a problem, because then in a tournament that gets really complicated.
Well, they don't actually remove the terrain; they just count it. They just remove all War Scroll abilities of it and have it on Deadly and Rubble. They just change the rules to Deadly and Rubble.
It doesn't actually
include faction terrain.
Yes,
it does include faction terrain.
They can destroy faction terrain.
That's a real nice Bone Tithe Nexus you had there. Too bad I'm destroying it right now. Yeah.
Ones that have to go in the middle. Oh, goodbye.
Ones that have to go in the middle. Exactly. Boats.
Oh yeah, buy boats. I'd say they're already wrecked. You can't smash it more.
Sylvaneth Awakened Wildwoods.
It really reminds me of back in the day with 5th edition and 6th edition 40K, where like vehicles could become craters, and people brought crater markers so you could have the craters. Yeah, that whole thing. But well, we're gonna have to see how Sons of Behemoth end up looking out. I'm skeptical. I'm definitely not gonna buy one, but I'm happy that there's like knights and armigers basically for Age of Sigmar now. So we're gonna have to take a look and see where things are. But you guys, if you want, we do have quite a few things happening this week in terms of content. Jeremy and I are going to be playing some Warhammer 40,000 on Sunday. This weekend, we're going to be playing Imperial Fists versus Necrons. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing them out. I'm looking at a partial version of this over behind me.
White Scars versus...
Oh, White Scars. My bad. Yeah, you shared that White Scars list. So it's going to be a mix of the synth crons and the old purple and white that I have for my Necrons anyways. We have, John, we have your, your Firehead segment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Later this weekend, everybody should see episode of Fireheads with Mr. Reese Robbins climbing the pepper tree. We'll see what Reese can handle. And of course, next week will be the first episode of me building the lighted Necron. Of course, last Wednesday was another prelude episode where you saw me cleaning up the mold lines and all that good stuff. So looking forward to another Wednesday hobby night at 8 o'clock.
Hell yeah. And Garrett, you got anything? Any content that's coming up?
No.
Do we have a stat show?
Well, I mean,
it came out this Monday.
Yeah, it came out on Monday. So the next one's 2 weeks from now. So
yep.
Oh, okay. Every other week. Cool. Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know. I, for one, am very excited to take a look at John's LED lighting. I got to tell you, I have that model. I converted the sword. So the one you guys saw earlier didn't have the accurate sword because I made a new one for it. And it was 2 bits of the plasma casters. I have no idea how John's going to end up putting LEDs in that Overlord. And I already have it. I thankfully have a second one. So if he inspires me, I have the ability to do something about it.
Well,
but
I am awesome.
shocked.
So a little preview for Alex. I'm going to light the eyes.
No way.
And I'm going to have a beating Necron heart. And I'm also going to have an energy effect in the weapon.
The amount of cutting, I would cut my fingers to bits. Just I understand what you're doing, and I know the model, but holy shit, that's incredible. I would love to see you do something with the new monolith. I know the new monolith isn't going to be all that great, but the way it looks, it's like multi-layered, and there's a lot of open space in the model now. It's a lot less of a block or a brick, and it's got like multi-layers of stuff. If you take a look at the new monolith model, John, you'll be able to take like one look at it and you'll see what I mean. I would love to see you get a hold. Granted, we don't even know the price of it. We don't even know when it's coming out, but when it comes out, I would love to see what you do with it, because they got the Dyson sphere on top instead now. They got like a multi-layered thing, so it's not just a brick with like 4 prongs anymore. There's a lot of open space on the inside. There's the dimensional portal, the portal of exile. Like, I'd be incredibly excited to see what you do with that.
Oh, that sounds fun. We will have to see what I can do with that.
Yeah.
You got me excited too. And I don't own one of those yet, so I need to get one.
Yeah, and I own the regular monolith. I'll tell you what, it looks nothing like this new one, and hopefully it's not too crazy in terms of size, but I think it's way bigger. But we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see when it comes out. We're gonna have to see what you end up doing with it, because I'm already gonna be impressed with anything you do with lighting, anyways. But if you guys want to see John's content for his hobby hangouts, as well as Firehead, in addition to all the other content that we do have, do like and subscribe in your phase. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, you name it, we're there. Podbean, Spotify, etc. Like, subscribe, leave us a review. If you got something interesting to share it with us. We're more than happy to talk about it on the show. And yeah, we do have a Patreon, Discord channel, as well as some additional content that we have to share. So if you guys want to help us out, we can help you out as well. That being said, this is going to be Alex, John, Jeremy, and Garrett signing off for the evening.
Good night.
Let me help you by helping myself.